This thing needs to go on that thing. I currently have my monitors set up in this orientation, and I need to switch it right the way over to this orientation because we're going to be recording the middle screen. And if you know anything about Elgatos, you know they only use HDMI. They're all currently hooked up to the PC, and essentially I need to make this one a DisplayPort, this one an HDMI, and then I can leave the two outer ones. I actually have a nice box of goodies. Glasses aren't included, they're mine, sorry about that. But there's a load of stuff in here that I need for the setup. These are actually two cables that came with the Elgato, like they're included in the box. But we have some sleeving to tidy up the wires. Yeah, look how gross it is right now. You can see I actually did a loom when I first put this thing together, but then I've added stuff and it's all kind of a bit messy. We also have some cable labels so that I can easily find which bits are which. We have a really short HDMI which should hopefully go from the PC to the capture card. The DisplayPort to HDMI cable which will be running all the way up to the top monitor. And then a long HDMI cable that will hopefully go from the middle monitor to the capture card. Alright, so I've just plugged it into the computer and I've loaded up the OBS software, and obviously there's no signal because it's not plugged in at the moment. My first plan is actually to get everything hooked up, tested, and then I'll do all like the cool cable routing and stuff. Right now, this is just as it was when I first set it up, so this is still on DisplayPort, this one is still on HDMI. So what I'm going to do now is hook this one up via HDMI into the Elgato, and then hook this one up via DisplayPort and just see how it comes out. Okay, so I've plugged the HDMI to DisplayPort, rather the other way around, cable into there, and that's not doing anything at the moment. This isn't doing anything at the moment, but I figure maybe if I use the buttons I can get it to switch. So we actually do have the full display. If I do that, you can see the taskbar. The PC is coming through on the laptop. Still nothing, so what I'm doing now is updating the firmware in the hopes that something changes, although I have a funny feeling this doesn't have anything to do with the Elgato itself and is more just the fact I have some cheap monitors. Well guys, it looks like actually updating that firmware did do the trick, because we now have all three monitors set up. My next challenge is going to be getting that top one to work. Yes Ryan, it would help if you plugged in that upper monitor, you absolute muppet, because as you can see I put the cable in and now we're good. I'm now going to run a quick test with this. You know, all the cables are very messy, but what I'm now going to do is load up iRacing, make sure it runs smoothly on here, make sure it runs smoothly all the way over here, and then I'm going to start tidying up the cables. This has been an absolute pain in the ass, but essentially Windows does not like outputting to two different sources or two different outputs at once. It's called Voice Meter, it's free, it allows you to put sort of an input or whatever. I don't really give a shit about this, all I care about is the output. So I've got it sending to the Pro X wireless headset and the 27E1QA thing. I've had to go back and forth, lots of trial and error, but I finally got the sound coming into the computer or into the laptop and also into the headset. And if this has worked, then you should be able to hear the audio from the game and the audio from the camera overlaid on top of each other, and then I should be able to cut between the two modes, or cut between the two angles, and it should all seamlessly work if everything's worked. And this has been a right nightmare to set up. It's a couple of weeks later and I have a bit of a side mission to do. I've upgraded to a different CPU, it's the 5800X3D, and I'm going to just quickly whip the system out, install it, and go from there. Well, here's the aftermath of the upgrades. A certain YouTuber screwdriver I've had for a couple of years now. Look at this bad boy, the 3700X, that's out of here. I need to give it a quick clean up and put it in the plastic clasp and put it on eBay. Coming over here, you can see we are now fully up and running. I always forget my computer actually has lights on the inside of it because I just run it with standard side panels. So yeah, I need to turn those orange LEDs off again because they're annoying me. And then I should probably tidy up and put it all back together. And there we go. So a few things have changed since I last showed you this. I've bought this thing. We went to IKEA like a week or so ago, 2 weeks ago. I bought this and now I have a little spot for my laptop that records the middle screen. This is connected over HDMI. I have added some, so you can see actually I put a little bit of sleeving. I've also done a little bit of sleeving on the right side. So all the monitor video signal goes down there, and then that loom over there is the power signal. So this runs down through HDMI into the Elgato, which is sat there. Then the HDMI goes into the computer, and the other display ports run up there. I have just this second added a zip tie to this so that this cable, which goes across the rig, isn't in the way of the pedal plate. And if I shut up for a second, you'll be able to hear my laptop fans going absolutely nuts. And that, spread across about a month, is me setting up the Elgato 4KX. Honestly, a pretty fun little experience. I've been able to get quite a lot of B-roll for my Sebring video that I probably wouldn't have been able to get, or at least not without compromising the performance. So now I have a better CPU and I'm recording externally, so it should be a lot better when it comes to recording the footage.